One Piece is my favorite anime of all time. If you clicked on this video, I'm assuming it's probably yours too. Or it's up there, whatever. Recently, I've been rewatching One Piece from the very beginning with my girlfriend who's never seen it before, and we actually got past the East Blue Saga just the other day. And I gotta say, reliving some of these moments in the arcs, I forgot how good early One Piece was. Like, as good as it gets, it starts out really freaking good. So while I was reliving these great memories, these moments in One Piece that I don't think I've watched since I started about 10 years ago, I figured I would highlight my favorite moment from each arc in the East Blue Saga now that I have rewatched the whole thing. Some of the moments that I found enjoying the most out of each arc surprised the hell out of me because they're not like the most talked about moments ever. But that's why I'm excited to bring it to you. Before we get going, you might be wondering, hey, that's not the Straw Hat Crew Jolly Roger, what is that? Well, that's the Jolly Roger of the On-Air Pirates. Scratchman Apu.
Golden Festival is here and it's gonna be tight! I never skip out on a party or give up on a fight!
Which I happen to be the current voice of. Rest in peace, Brad Venable. So now that my intro's out of the way, let's go over my favorite moments from the East Blue Saga broken down by arc. Let's go. We of course start with Romance Dawn. You know, a lot of great moments. Luffy getting the devil fruit, Shanks with his arm getting cut off. Spoiler alerts. Neither of those is my favorite moment. It's not even Shanks letting him and his crew get their asses beat inside of the bar. My favorite moment, honestly, paints the picture of why I kind of like the show. And I think you might appreciate it as well. Boom! It is when Lucky Roo shoots this man. He just completely annihilates this guy, shoots him in the head. In the manga panels, there's blood flying out of the guy's head. He's dead. And this was the first moment that I was like, oh my God, what kind of show is this? It looks like it's for kids. There's an obese man in tight watermelon pajamas eating a turkey leg. How is this character at all badass? And yet, as silly as this character is, he doesn't even put the turkey leg down. He shoots a man in the head after Shanks has one of the coolest lines to start off with, where he's like, you know, you shouldn't, it's a cardinal sin to put a gun in a man's face and not pull the trigger and not be willing to pull the trigger, whatever the hell he says. I'm paraphrasing, I don't remember all this. I'm not a theorist, I haven't scanned this a million times, but he says, Shanks says a cool line, the guy's like, huh? And he gets murked by a man eating a turkey leg in way too small pajamas. And this comes to why I love One Piece and why I kind of fell in love with it immediately. In one breath, we have these very cartoony, very silly looking characters, you know, but then we have this badass moment and a guy dies and it's like, okay, no, this ain't the kid stuff that you grew up watching. Maybe I never watched the 4Kids dub. I'm sure this never happened. Maybe they just, what, was he holding another turkey leg and he's like, have a turkey leg. That's my impression of the 4Kids dub. Sorry if anyone was in that or produced that. But I mean, you know, we know the memes. That's why this is my favorite moment from Romance Dawn. It's not very popular, I don't think, but it's like a moment you remember immediately with this guy right here. Absolutely phenomenal world building. It just gets you into the mood. It gets you into the tone of One Piece like pretty immediately. That's Romance Dawn, my favorite moment. Next up, Orange Town. Introduction of Buggy, you know, we get some Nami action, all of the fun stuff. We also get Zoro, you know, there's a lot going on, but my favorite moment of Orange Town, which again, I think spells out and just shows you early on what this story is gonna kind of be like, what the tone of One Piece is, this right here, Choo Choo. This silly looking dog and his epic backstory. I rewatched this, I didn't even remember this part at all. And if you don't, I don't blame you, but it's such a good and powerful moment. This dog's owner owns the pet shop, and basically one day, as he's an elderly guy, he says, I'm not feeling good. Hey, I'm gonna go to the hospital. Choo Choo, you watch the shop while I'm gone. He dies. He never comes back. So Choo-Choo every single day just guards this pet store. He probably knows his owner is dead. They talk about that a little bit. He's not a stupid dog. It's not like he thinks his owner's coming back, but it is his treasure. It's his treasure. This is his master's store. And I think that Choo-Choo still guards the store because it's all that's left of his beloved master. I mean, if you want to talk about emotionally heart-rendering moments, what is a better way to elicit that emotion than a love of a dog for his master who's dead? It just hits you out of nowhere. Like, we're getting Buggy the clown, you know, we're getting cool moments like Shanks gets his arm ripped off by the sea beast, you know, we get Buggy coming through and breaking off into pieces another, you know, fellow devil fruit user. We get silly comedy and Luffy's being silly and goofy and he's stretching all over the place. You know, Zoro's eating rice off of the dirt. Like, we get all of these great, epic, awesome moments, but this was the first, like, real emotional impact hit to me. Like, this one got me right in the feels, and just the idea of a dog being that loyal, fighting with Luffy, even though they at first were antagonistic towards each other. Like, he has a full story arc in like 5 episodes, and I cried. I cried watching this episode, like rewatching it. Man, it's just a powerful, powerful moment. Choo-Choo, MVP of Orange Town. Of course, that means most valuable pup. Choo-Choo for the win. Okay, let's go on to Syrup Village. We get Usopp, we get, you know, Michael Jackson pirate, we get Captain Kuro, but I didn't like it. To be completely honest, when I first watched this, I hated Usopp. And if you didn't, awesome for you. But I feel like a lot of people, when they first meet Usopp, it's like, why is this guy joining the crew? What is his purpose? What's the point? Like, what is he doing? He can't fight. All he does is lie. I don't like this guy. Then you get the mom backstory. It's all great. But like, this is my favorite moment. Rewatching and looking back at what my favorite moment was of this arc, the Going Merry, of course. Getting the Going Merry, seeing this ship in all its glory. I forgot that this dude's name was Mary. I thought that I had forgotten that. I was like, why is it called the Going Merry again? Just an incredible feeling. You just feel like, man, this is it. It's kind of crappy that they took his flags down. He had flags of himself. Little vain to put flags of yourself, though, in the first place. And they were like, I guess Luffy was like, I'm taking these down. What are you doing, man? I gotta put my own pirate Jolly Roger up here. Anyways, this was a moment that felt like the start of the adventure, right? We have Nami, we have Zoro, we have Usopp, we have Luffy. It's starting to feel like the pirate crew is coming together. Things are starting to gel. You know, as much as I didn't like the Usopp story at first when I first watched it, obviously he grows on you as the series progresses, but like the mom backstory I thought was really nice. Although I remember when I first watched it, I was like, I don't even care that you have a sad story. I hate this guy. He just lies. I was venting to my buddy Jolly Green, who got me into the show, and now I look back and laugh because Usopp's like freaking awesome. But in this moment, come on, are we really gonna say Usopp was like the MVP of Syrup Village over the Going Merry? This moment was everything. So, moving on to Baratie. This is when the show really kicks up a notch. It starts going ham. Hard as you know what. So many great moments in Baratie, right? I mean, we get the Zeph flashback, right? That was incredible in itself. We get Zoro and Mihawk. We just get Mihawk, honestly. Mihawk coming up on his little dinky raft with candles lit, but looking like the coolest guy in the whole school. Like, he rolled up. It's just a great arc because so many things happen and so many amazing moments are here. When even the little moment when the Don Krieg right-hand man, Ryu, is that his name? When he's crying to Sanji about how it's the most delicious food of his life and all that stuff. I loved those little moments when you thought like he was gonna turn, but he couldn't bring himself to fight Sanji. Just A+ moments. But my favorite moment in all of Baratie, Sanji kneeling to all these guys. And, you know, on theme with everything else, this moment really showed me what this show was gonna kind of be like. It was another moment where we peeled back the onion and saw a little bit more and understood a little bit more about the world and how it kind of operated and would work. And, you know, Baratie is established to be full of all of these rough and tumble, hardy guys that, you know, are just willing to fight each other. They're always in a state of fighting and anger at each other, it seems. And Sanji leaves and Zeph has this cool little, you know, hey, you know, blah, blah, blah. And Sanji's being cool as he's walking down the pier and whatever. And all the chefs are gathered and they're all like, man, we're all tough. And they're all tough. They're all a bunch of tough, cool dudes, right? And so you just think to yourself, okay, cool, I get it. Tough, cool moment. It is what it is. And then Zeph calls out and says, Sanji, wear a sweater, you don't catch a cold, whatever the hell he says. And just the smallest gesture is enough to tilt it over, and you see Sanji burst into tears immediately, and how fast he bursts into tears. Right? It was like you could, from that moment, you know, and you realize he was holding all of this in and was one small word away from just breaking down as he coolly walked down the pier. And that moment is just so powerful. When the other chefs then immediately break down, there's not a dry eye on the entire goodbye crew, right? Even Chef Zeph, who is such a badass dude. Redfoot Zeph, are you kidding me? He starts crying, and then Sanji kneels and screams out, I can never repay you enough. I can never repay you guys enough. I'm gonna miss you all. It is one of the best moments in One Piece, for sure, in my opinion, because it is the least expected thing. I did not expect that. I thought everyone was gonna leave, it was gonna be cool. This moment showed me that regardless of who it is, the toughest people are also super emotional, right? The coolest guys are also emotional. That there is at no point any qualm against tough guys crying and being, you know, emotionally available. I just thought that that was such a genius way to establish that this world is full of these cool people and badasses, but also human beings. And the moment broke me. This was the first moment, my first watch through, that I actually teared up. I couldn't believe how well this moment was executed. And Sanji screaming up to Zeph with his head down on the ground, tears rolling down his eyes, is just, it's just perfection. It's storytelling perfection. Mwah. Well done. Hey, it's Future Brent. I hope you're enjoying my favorite moments from each arc of the East Blue Saga. If you are, hey, hit that subscribe button. Don't smash it. That would be rude. Hit that subscribe button. Do me a favor. Hit it. I love you. Anyways, back to the content. Okay, Arlong Park. There's a lot to say. I'm not even gonna list off the moments, but everybody has their favorite moment in this arc. I feel like the most iconic moment in this arc, and one of the most iconic moments across all of One Piece, is Luffy taking off his hat and putting it on Nami's head, right? It's just, it encapsulates everything about Luffy that we need to know and everything about how the story is gonna go. Luffy helps out people who can't help themselves. But my favorite moment is not that. It is the moment that comes before. Basically, Nami has all of her money that she's been working up 100 million berries, stealing for the past 8 years. 8 years of her life, and not even a good 8 years, like 8 years of pretending and living under somebody she hates with a passion, who torments her, right? She's so close to saving the village, Kokoyashi village, and she comes up short because Arlong, although he doesn't break his promise outright, tells the Navy where to find her treasure that she's been building up for 8 years, and she has to start over. And she breaks down, she does the whole thing, there's nothing she can do. That moment's great, but that moment is only the setup. The moment that comes after that is my favorite moment in this arc, which is Nami comes back to the town and she's smiling, and we flash back to Bellemere, and she's like, oh, you know, you need to be able to smile and, you know, shove through the things, you know, shove through the pains in life and be a strong, confident woman, all of the yes queen moments, right, from Bellemere. And so Nami comes back and she's walking and smiling and waving at the villagers saying, hey everybody, don't get upset. I know that the money got stolen, but hey, I'm way older now. I can steal the money way quicker. I should probably be done even in like a year, maybe in a few months even. 100 million's nothing now. I was a kid when I started. She's just going on and ranting. And you know, she's smiling and waving because she knows that if she even shows the slightest bit of anger, despair, sadness, whatever, that the village will retaliate against Arlong, and that means that it is the end of the village. So essentially Nami feels like, and basically, I mean, rightfully so, that her emotions in this moment will dictate whether the village survives or not. And as sad and as deep of a hole as she is in this moment, she's still willing to climb out and do what she believes is the right thing that will save the village. And then Genzo hugs her and is like, shut up. It's like, shut up. We know. He basically is like, we know. We've known for years. Before this, he says, we've known for years. We didn't want you to know that we knew you were working for Arlong for our sakes. But he's like, you can let it out now. We know that you're upset and we won't stand for this anymore. And regardless of how you feel, we are saying enough is enough. We're going to take the fight to Arlong, even though it's going to mean our deaths. And then she breaks down. And we get the knife moment, and we get Luffy putting the hat on her, or her throwing the dust on Luffy and saying, get out of here, right? Like, that moment's great, but to me, that moment is like great in that we see, that moment can only be as powerful as this moment that comes before it is. This moment is the true masterpiece to me, because while it doesn't visually look as iconic as Luffy putting the hat on her, I mean, just symbolism and all of that, it's just visually stunning, that shot. This moment that comes before is the much more emotionally impactful to me. Like, my heart was ripped straight out when this moment happened. To know that she had given 8 years of her life in hell and torture, and the worst possible thing could happen, and she still had the ability to smile her way through and try to fake it for the good of the village. She put the entire village on her back, and she couldn't muster the strength anymore after years and years and years. And then Luffy, Sanji, Zoro, Usopp come to help her out. But that's not what makes Nami. It's not the moment where they're like, all right, leave it to us. We'll do something about Arlong. It's not that moment that's so beautiful and touching to me. It's the moment before where Nami is at the lowest she could ever be, but she's still willing to put the entire village on her back until she completely runs out of options. I don't think we have a powerful Nami moment since this moment, but that moment tore my heart out when I watched it. And I think it's incredibly underrated because everybody remembers the hat, Luffy putting the hat on her, but not this one. And then, last but not least, Loguetown. And I will preface this by saying I am a humongous Zoro fan. So Loguetown has all these wonderful moments, right? We get the lightning coming down. Right as Luffy is like, sorry guys, I'm dead, right? We get the amazing Tashigi introduction, all of the fun stuff, but I have to say that my favorite moment of all of this in Loguetown, just kidding, it's not Zoro throwing the sword and then being like, if I'm cursed, then I guess I'm losing an arm. Boop. And I guess I'm not cursed. And the guy being like, oh, that's the craziest thing I've ever seen. Please take my most expensive sword. When would that ever work, by the way? I wish I could just do that, like at a McDonald's, just eat a cheeseburger. They're like, whoa, I've never seen someone eat a cheeseburger that fast. Please have 3 of everything on the menu. The smoker introduction, this is my favorite moment, where it's not even when we just meet Smoker and he's just smoking 2 cigars and we're like, who is this man with incredible abs, right? And we're like, he just opens the door, the room's covered in smoke, and the guy's like, oh, Captain Smoker, I'm sorry, but can you stop smoking that? It's not that moment, because that moment establishes, okay, he's a tough, badass guy in the Navy. He's a Navy Admiral Smoker, right? Admiral? No. He's a Captain Smoker, right? Whatever. Smoker is in the Navy. He's a tough guy in the Navy, and we all think, oh, great, another axe hand Morgan. Oh, great. Another whatever that mouse guy on Arlong Park was. So, to my surprise, this moment with the little girl, the ice cream, she walks into him, she's laughing with her dad, she spills an ice cream all over Smoker, and he turns to her and she whimpers in fear because look at this guy. Look at this man. He's scary. He got a scary face. Even as he's apologizing, he's a scary, scary man. And yet, what he says is, I'm sorry. My pants ate up all your ice cream. Here, that should be enough for 5 scoops. And he gives her enough money to buy not only the ice cream she lost, but a nice big one because he knows with his face, he probably traumatized her for life. Like he has a self-awareness. He knows he looks scary, right? So he gets really actually just very kind. And in this moment, this is the moment that sets up that the world is very gray. Because we've now seen evil pirates, and we know that Luffy is on the other end of that spectrum, and he's a good pirate who's fighting for the good of people and humanity, right? Fighting for the weak, you know? We don't see that from the Navy. We don't have that moment. After they take in Kobe, we have all these scrubs being like, yeah, we didn't like Axe Hand Morgan, but we stuck around just for funsies because, you know, we didn't want to die. And it was like, okay, cool, whatever. But it was like all these people in prominent positions of power are evil. Obviously, they're the Navy. They're the evil people going against Luffy. Luffy, good guy, Navy, bad guys, right? This moment flipped the script. And it showed me that this show was going to be much more gray than I had ever imagined. It looks like a show that's going to be simple ha-has. You know, Luffy's a fun character. He's made out of rubber, right? Fun times. His best friend has green hair. You know, the other guy looks like Pinocchio with his nose because he's lying all the time. It seems like a kid's show. But this is an incredible amount of just conscious like storytelling and world building to show that no matter who you are and no matter what faction you're a part of, anybody can be anything. This guy Smoker, he's a hard ass. Sure, he wants to capture Luffy. He is an antagonist, but he is not evil. He's not here for his own gain. He's here because he wants to do good, and he believes that pirates are evil and that Luffy is evil. And he goes to catch him because he thinks like, if I let this kid go, he'll cause mass destruction and whatever, not knowing. And it's just a great little moment, just this small, tiny little moment that whether you recognize it or not, it just shows you that Navy, pirates, whoever, it's on the person on whether they're going to be good or evil. And I just thought it was a really beautifully done. It was just a beautiful way of showing that concept in this world that could easily be taken as like, it's just a kid's show about whatever. Everything's black and white. There are good guys, there are bad guys. Brr, brr, brr. No, there are some guys that are gray and can be antagonistic towards our main character without being completely evil. I loved that. So, these are my moments. Oh, I'm really happy looking at them, you know? Fun fact, in Arlong Park, my girlfriend was like, is that the name of the place? And I was like, yeah, why? She's like, I thought that was his name. I thought he was a Korean fishman this whole time. I thought he was just a Korean guy. And in Loguetown, she said prologue and epilogue. That's how you would spell Loguetown like that. Oh, that's why it's called the city of the beginning and the end. And I was like, I never even put that together. So, those are my favorite moments in each arc of the East Blue Saga. If you'd like me to continue this series with different arcs in other sagas, then leave a comment down below. Let me know that you liked it. Leave a like, in fact. And also hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I'd really appreciate it. And hey, if you like me reacting to One Piece content, I actually took a quiz to see how well I knew One Piece, and it was a real nail biter. So click that link over there or over there. I don't know where the link's gonna be. But click on that link and you'll get to watch me sweat out a quiz. All right, bye.